Tina tells me that we're good to go. We're being recorded, so let us go ahead and call the meeting of the Hendersonville Board of Mayor and Aldermen to start. And this is September 8th, 2020. And the first two items on our agenda is a prayer and a pledge. So the flag is right here behind me. I'm going to lead us in prayer, and then we'll stand, please, to recite the pledge. So please join me in prayer at this time. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us together, and thank you for these opportunities to serve you and to serve the people of Hendersonville. We appreciate very much the skills and the talents and abilities you have provided for us. Help us to use those to do your work here and to do your work as we leave here. And help us to also remember the people who are sick, the people who are ill, the people who are suffering, and the people who care for them, since we have so many of those folks in our community. And please especially look after the folks who protect us here and the people who protect us far away. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Please join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the
United States of America
and to the
republic
for which it stands, one
nation
under God, indivisible,
to the republic
with
for which
liberty
it
and
stands,
justice
one
for all. Thank you.
indivisible, with liberty and justice.
I'm going
for
to
all.
entertain a motion to accept the agenda, and I would suggest that we group items A, B, C, D, and F.
So moved.
We have a motion from Alderman Waters to approve our agenda with A, B, C, D, and F as a group.
I'll second that.
We have a second.
I also have an amendment.
Okay, do you want to vote on this first?
No, we can do this all at the same time.
Go ahead.
We need to add item G.
Add item G. Okay, Alderman Waters, do you agree to add that to your motion?
So moved.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. I'm trying to get my participant chat box together here to make sure I'm not missing anybody. I don't see anybody with a blue hand up. I don't see anybody with a actual hand up. Alderman Sprouse and Alderman Waters, just to make sure, you're not saying item G will be included in the group. You're just saying we're going to add item G to the agenda. Am I correct?
I'm okay either way. Mr. Waters made the motion. I'll second whatever motion he has to make.
So, Mr. Waters, we're going to have the agenda in front of us that we sent out Friday, and A, B, C, D, and F will be grouped together, is what I read your motion as.
Second that motion.
I appreciate that. Okay, we have a motion, a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, please say no when Kay calls your name.
Bolt,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Campbell,
Aye.
Cunningham,
Aye.
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Petrelli,
Aye.
Robertson,
Aye.
Skidmore, Skidmore,
I'm sorry, my voice is kind of bad, but you can't understand why, I'm sure.
Browse,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Woodcock, did Alderman Woodcock come in?
I don't see him.
Clary,
I'm sorry,
Aye.
no sign of him.
Clary, was that an aye?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Thank you, Kay. Thank you, Tina. So we have an agenda passed unanimously. Next, we have presentations. I had the honor of presenting this proclamation to the Daughters of American Revolution a couple weeks ago, and I'll go ahead and read it. Whereas September 17th, 2020 marks the 233rd year anniversary of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, whereas it is fitting and proper to officially recognize the magnificent creation and anniversary of this document and commemorate the occasion, Whereas the Daughters of the American Revolution promote the principles of freedom, equality, justice, and humanity, for which American patriots sacrificed their lives and fortunes. Whereas the Daughters of the American Revolution fulfill DAR's mission to promote historic preservation, education, and patriotism. And welcome, Mrs. Gilly. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States, now therefore I, Jamie Clary, Mayor of the City of Hendersonville, Tennessee, do proclaim September 17th through 23rd, 2020 as Constitution Week. And I urge all citizens of Hendersonville to reaffirm the ideals the framers of the Constitution embraced in 1787. And I signed that earlier today. Mrs. Gilly, could you say a few words for us, please? Oh, you have to unmute your, there we go.
There we go. Yeah, Mayor Clary and Alderman, it is such a pleasure to be here. And on behalf of the 164 members of the General Jethro Sumner chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution, thank you for this proclamation. The General Jethro Sumner chapter is always happy to be here to receive this proclamation. I'd like to share a few little trivia facts about the Constitution with you. There have been close to 10,000 amendments proposed, but today there are only 27 amendments that have been approved. The word democracy does not appear in the Constitution. Latin is a foreign language that's used 3 times in the Constitution. And the term that is used for ethnic minorities is the word others. And the last fact is you can see the Constitution today at the National Archives. And the only day that you can see all 5 pages of the Constitution is on Constitution Day, which is September 17th. So as I said, it's a pleasure to be here tonight, and thank you for this proclamation, and we'll see you next year.
Ms. Gilly, thank you, and thank you for
Thank
the
you.
work that you and the DAR do. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm now going to entertain a motion that we approve our August 25th, 2020 meeting minutes.
So moved.
Have a
Second.
motion from
Second.
Alderman Waters and a second from Alderman Edwards. All those in favor of approving our minutes from August 25th, 2020, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, please say no when Kay calls your name.
Bolt,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Campbell,
Aye.
Cunningham,
Aye.
Edwards,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Petrelli. Aye. Robertson,
Aye.
Skidmore,
Aye.
Sprouse,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Clary.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Thank you, Kay. And now we have citizen comments. We have 3 people that have signed up. Let me read the guidelines that we have for those. And Tina, if you'll go ahead and let our 3 speakers in, I'd appreciate it. Speakers must identify themselves by name and address. Hold on a second.
You're muted, Mayor.
I apologize for the interruption. I had to talk with Tina real quickly. Speakers must identify themselves by name and address. Public comment shall be limited to 5 minutes per individual, which time is not transferable to other speakers. All comments are to be directed to the presiding officer, not to the alderman, city staff, or other members of the public. Comments must address issues, not individuals or personalities. Personal attacks shall not be tolerated. Comments may support or oppose particular issues or measures, but the motives of those with differing views shall not be questioned or attacked. Malicious comments will not be allowed. Speeches for or against particular candidates running for public office shall not be tolerated. The first person we have signed up is Cash Canese of Catalina Way. Cash, you with us? And I don't know if I pronounced your name correctly or not. I apologize. Please feel free to correct me and go ahead. Cash, we don't hear you right now. I'm not sure if you've got another mute setting on your computer. On Zoom, you're not muted right now. We're still not hearing you. It shows on your block that you're not muted on Zoom.
Mayor, if I suggest we may need to check and he may need to check and see if he enabled his microphone to use or to use Zoom to use the internal computer microphone.
Okay.
If not, he can do a call in and use audio from a phone.
Okay, Cash, are you saying that you're going to call in and use your phone? Okay, hold on 1 second, Cash. Let's figure out the best way to do that, okay? Cash, you should have some instructions for calling in, okay? So go ahead and do that. We're going to go to the next speaker. I think we only have 2 speakers of the 3 that had signed up. So we'll go to the next speaker, and then Tina will let us know if we hear from you on the phone, and we'll go ahead and take care of that at that time. Okay, thank you so much, Cash. Cash, if don't turn off the Zoom in case you have problems, so you can at least send us a message that way if there are continued problems. Okay, thank you. So next we have Sid Albert of Devonshire Trail. So Sid, welcome. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. My question, well, first of all, I'm the assigning officer for the Hendersonville Officials Association, and I don't understand why I can't get my umpires paid. The process that we followed is the exact same process that we followed since I've been doing the assigning, and that's been a little over 6 years. If I may, let me take a moment, I'll describe that process. I do the invoices that I send into the Parks Department. We have an agreement. It's actually a 3-year plan on what the fees will be for each age level, which sport, whether you have 1 or 2 umpires, and this covers other sports, kickball, et cetera. And at the beginning of the season, when I get the schedules, then I put an invoice together that has those approved fees with the number of games at each level, submit that to the Parks Department. Occasionally I've made some mistakes. We get those corrected and then get everything turned in, and then they approve it and then get submitted. And within a couple of weeks, then I get the check. That's the exact same process that we have done for this fall's league. And for whatever reasons, I can't get my umpires paid, and I don't understand why.
Sid, anything else?
No, I guess one comment that I would make, no one gets any personal gain by this process. HOA does pay our bookkeeper, and that is the only person that gets paid by HOA that is not a game official. I do the assigning, I collect assigning fees. The officials get paid their fees based on the games that they work. But absolutely nobody that's on the board of directors receives any kind of reward or financial gain by being a part of this process or being a part of our board.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Appreciate that, Sid. I'm going to hit mute real quick to communicate with Tina. So we believe that Cash is connected by phone, so we're going to see him live, but he'll be talking through the phone. And I think, Cash, I think Tina has you connected, so why don't you say hello? We didn't hear anything.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. You're good. You're good. You're good. You're
There
good.
you go.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
We
All
can.
right,
Go
great.
ahead.
You can see me with my phone and my.
You're good.
How are
I'll
y'all
start your
doing?
timer. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Alderman, for allowing me the opportunity to speak today. My name is Cash Knies, and I am a resident homeowner of Durham Farms at 105 Catalina Way in Hendersonville. I'm speaking to you today on behalf of my friends and neighbors in regards to the proposed addition of rental units into our beloved community. About a month ago, we heard through the grapevine that our developer Freehold Communities had plans to build a number of rental units within Durham Farms. This was surprising to the residents as Durham Farms was always planned to be a community of resident-owned homes. Several residents, including myself, informally set out on a fact-finding mission to determine if this was rumor or fact, and we were quite surprised to uncover that this was in fact a plan of freehold. Since that initial discovery, we have formed a committee to investigate further and relay back any information found to all the residents. During this fact-finding stage, we were able to meet with the representatives of Freehold. At that meeting between Freehold and the Durham Farms Committee, it was confirmed by multiple Freehold executives that the company had plans to build 165 rental units to consist of townhomes and villas. This equates to approximately 14% of units within Durham Farms when the community is completed. During that meeting, our committee raised multiple questions which still remain unanswered nearly a month later. Freehold also committed to hosting multiple in-person town hall meetings for residents to ask questions and raise concerns. Currently, we have one virtual town hall meeting scheduled and limited to 200 participants, and questions must be submitted in advance. Notably, we have expressed our grave concerns regarding the potential negative impact on our home values. Freehold is yet to provide concrete data on this point that was promised to us. We have asked how and when the HOA will be turned over to residents and how having rentals will impact that plan. That question remains unanswered. And our fear is that the rentals allow them to have permanent control over our community. We have asked if these will be the only rental units to be built in Durham Farms or if more will be added in the future. That question remains unanswered, and frankly, it is a great fear that these will not be the only rental units due to Freehold's constant changing of community development plan without resident input. There are many other concerns we, the residents of Durham Farms, have with this proposal, not least of which is the fact that the proposal of rentals goes against the very spirit of Durham Farms and what we as residents all bought into when we purchased our homes. Unfortunately, I do not have the time to list them all, but I have shared with you today our greatest concerns. We are optimistic that Freehold will listen to our concerns and revert course back to the original plan and promise of a fully resident-owned community. After all, the company states on its website that, quote, "We set out to build communities differently than from others by focusing on the wants of the people who live there, the wants of people who live there." In light of their current position and our concerns, I would like to present the city our petition to stop these rentals with Durham Farms. We have collected 680 signatures comprised of residents from Durham Farms and neighboring communities of Autumn Creek and Drakes Point. Finally, on behalf of the resident homeowners of Durham Farms, I would like to extend our support of Resolution 2020-54 and appreciate the city's continued support to help us achieve our goal to stop these rental units from becoming a permanent fixture within our community. Thank you.
Cash, we appreciate that very much. Appreciate your flexibility in working with us to get on our to get in to be part of the meeting. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about the Zoom.
We're fine.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
We next have committee reports. Finance Committee, Chairman Cunningham.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have a real committee report tonight. I did want to tell you about an upcoming project that we are going to be discussing at our next finance meeting, which we're going to be reevaluating some paving projects such as Hidden Point and Caldwell and other projects. That's our upcoming meeting. And I'd like to ask the board to suspend the rules. I'd like to ask Robert Manning a question or two.
We don't have to suspend the rules. Is this part of your report from your last committee meeting?
No. I want to ask Robert a question about our finances.
Here's the problem. It's what we have on the agenda is our Finance Committee report. And a report
Well, that's
is
part of finance about it's
make
part
a
of the
motion-
financial.
I make a motion to add the item to our agenda.
what
I'll
item
second
are we-
that.
what item are we adding?
Mrs. Cunningham's discussion regarding financial issues.
Okay, this has to pass with 9 votes, since this isn't a report, since we're adding something to the agenda after the agenda has been approved. We have a motion, a second, to add Chairman Cunningham's discussion about financial issues. Any discussion on that? Alderman Bolt.
I had a comment about the financial report, but it can wait till after this.
All those in favor of adding this item to the agenda, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, please say no when Kay calls your name.
Holt,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Campbell,
Aye.
Cunningham,
Aye.
Edwards,
Aye.
Hayes,
Yes.
Petrelli,
Aye.
Robertson,
Aye.
Skidmore,
Aye.
Sprouse,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Clary.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
It passed unanimously. Alderman Cunningham,
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
Robert, is Robert in the queue?
He is.
Oh, okay, you're muted. Okay, Robert, there was some concern about at our I believe at our last finance meeting in reference to checks that haven't been properly signed in a timely manner. Could you tell me if all the checks have been signed and sent out properly, especially the one to the umpires? Because I've gotten several inquiries about that from citizens about their families not being paid.
All checks, except for the one you referenced for the Hendersonville Officials Association, have been signed. That's the only one that is still currently outstanding.
Okay, would you be able to elaborate on that, or our Parks Director elaborate on that? Is there documents that are missing, unsubstantiated, or, and if you guys could elaborate on that, I'd appreciate it.
To my knowledge, there are no documents missing. The check was replaced on September 3rd with an updated version, just so we were able to get out other checks. Long story short, I won't burden you with all of it, but we really can't send out all checks on a check run until we have been able to reconcile the entirety of the check run. And so if one is holding up, if one is held up, they're all held up, sort of a situation. So in order to not delay too long on the rest of the checks in the check run, we had to void the old version and replace with a new on September 3rd. So to my knowledge, no further supporting documentation has been requested.
And Mr. Gilly, is this process of invoicing the Parks Department typical of how officials are paid and have been paid over the last 4 years? Or is this a different process that's being used now?
This is the same process that we have been using since I was the Parks Director. It's the same process that started back when I was an alderman. The auditors 4 or 5 years ago told us that the practice of leagues being paid, officials being paid straight from the Officials Association needed to come back under the city. I know when I started umpiring a long time ago, at that time, the process was the city didn't want to have anything to do with paying officials. That started up, I mean, a history lesson. I think that started under Mayor Osbrooks, if I had to be exact about that. So it became the way it was. Then 4 years ago, the auditors, 4 or 5, I can't, Robert Mike can help me with that. The auditor said that those accounts needed to come back into the city. So this process is the same as it was when Mr. Rogers was the director. It's the same process as it was when Mr. Lamar came back as the interim director. And it's the same process as it is when I've been the director. And I've not been consulted about this other than Robert forwarded me emails saying here it's delayed, which I'll then let Mr. Albert know the check is going to be delayed. And that's it.
So, Mr. Bradley, is there anything illegal, or are we violating any kind of state statute or any kind of law under the city right now about how the process works for this to get these people paid?
Not in my opinion, Vice Mayor. In my opinion, this is a proper payment that needs to be made.
Alderman Cunningham, can I answer that too, please?
Sure.
Sure. We've got an opinion from MTAS that says that this should have been bid out. We also have an opinion that there should have been a conflict of interest form signed. Robert, do we have that conflict of interest form signed by Dave Lamar?
Yes, we update conflict of interest forms every June and July.
And we have one signed by him?
Yes, of course.
We do. Did you include that when you emailed me the documents that go with this?
No, it has not been requested.
Okay, I think you just asked. I think you were just asked if all the forms were forwarded to me, but you said that Dave has signed a conflict of interest form about this.
Of course, we update them every year.
Okay, and it specifies his role with the HOA?
There's not a spot on there to specify that. It specifies whether you have anything that is material or not.
Okay. So do we know if he is compensated by the HOA?
Well, I think we just heard that earlier.
Okay,
He's
but
not.
do we have a form that tells that he is compensated by the HOA? Do we have something on file?
You have to prove the absence of something, Mayor. I can't prove it to you that there isn't a document.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it. I think that's what MTAS was looking for. That's one of the things they're looking for. They're looking for that form before we went forward, and they're also looking for evidence that this was bid. What was this bid?
So Mayor, I'd like to address
According
this.
to, yeah, go ahead.
Let me address this. 3 weeks ago, I was asked if there was a conflict for Mr. Lamar being involved in this Hendersonville Officials Association. I researched it, looking at state law and conflicts of interest law, and determined that he was a volunteer on this board. And I informed the mayor, I told the mayor I approved the check payment. This was not good enough for the mayor. He goes to MTAS and starts asking them about it, not about bidding, but about Mr. Lamar's role. They come back and say, well, maybe this needs to be bid. So I go back to Mr. Manning and I say, let's make this so there's no question about the propriety of what we're doing here. We will go ahead and bid this out for the future, but for the months of August and September, we can go ahead and pay these folks because it's less than the bid amount would be required. Never saying that it had to be bid, but just to avoid the situation we're in tonight, where people who are supposed to be paid for work that they've performed are not being paid. And I sent an email to the mayor. Well, it was about 3 weeks ago he first asked, and then a week ago, I suppose it was, I sent him another email, which we've all seen on Facebook, in which I told him time was of the essence, that this is not a problem with bidding, and that the referees and umpires need to be paid.
I appreciate that, John, but I'm going to go back to what I was just asking a second ago. We'll come back to you in just a second. John, we'll go back to you in just a second, okay? So what I got from MTAS, it didn't say that maybe it should have been bid. It said that it should have been bid. The other thing that I got from MTAS was that a concern about the conflict. I never got an answer from you about the conflict. I never got any answer from you about that. Probably the best way that we can deal with this is accept that I never got an answer from you if there was any form that was signed about the conflict either.
Mr. Mayor, you didn't ask me about it. Hold on.
That we can go ahead.
Can I speak?
We can go ahead and,
Yes.
and pass the motion.
Attorney.
We can go ahead and pass the
Mayor,
motion at
this is
point.
my report. This
Well,
is
I'm
my
gonna make you- I'm
report.
gonna make a suggestion here. Probably the best thing to do is pass a motion at this time that we pay this, because these folks need to be paid. And-
Yes, they need to be paid, Mayor, and that's why I'm asking the
and so
question.
I'll
That's why I
entertain a
brought it
motion.
up.
I'll
And that's
entertain a
why you
motion
didn't
to
want
do
me to
that.
bring it up, because
I'll
they
enter-
need to be paid. I've gotten
I'll
calls from
entertain a motion. Hold on
multiple
one second
people
here.
from that association
So
that
I'm gonna
depend on these funds for their
Hold on,
families
Alderman
to eat.
Cunningham. I'm going to entertain a motion that we go ahead and pay
It's
this.
still, I still have the floor.
Even though it does
I still
not-
have the
even
floor.
though
This
M-
is part of my report.
I
I
got
still
you.
have the floor.
I got you, and I'm going to come back to you in just a second.
With
So I'm
all
gonna
due
entertain a
respect,
motion
Mayor.
that we go ahead and pay this, and that even though it does not satisfy some of the concerns that MTAS has. I realize that our city attorney differs with MTS's attorney on this, but I think that it'll help me get these folks paid if the board will pass a motion asking me to go ahead and do that. I think at that point, it certainly helps if the whole board makes a, makes a decision that we should move forward, because the whole board made the decision on how this, on why this is being held up. So I think if the whole board makes a decision on moving forward and paying those people, I think it
You
makes it a
held
lot
it up.
easier for me to pay this. So
The
I'm gonna
board
entertain
didn't
that motion this
hold it
time.
up.
I'll
Okay,
entertain that
I'm going to
motion
speak
this
to the
time.
motion. I'm
Oh,
going to
I need
speak to
somebody,
the
I need
motion.
somebody to make the motion.
There shouldn't be a motion, Mayor. You've already got the check. Just sign the check like you're supposed to do. The money's been
Alderman
properly
Cunningham, go ahead.
appropriated.
Alderman Cunningham, go ahead. Do you want to make that motion?
I want to speak first.
Go ahead.
This is the same process that has been going on for the last 4 years. And it's the same process that's been going on since our interim city administrator took over 10 months ago. All of a sudden, you have an epiphany
No,
about why this should be questioned, why you should be engaging MTS. Did
No,
you
the di-
not, were you not aware of this process for 10 months?
the process has been fine.
I mean, I
until-
don't understand that.
Okay. The process has been fine until a board member and a compensated employee or contract employee with HOA became our interim city administrator. The process was fine before because we didn't have that conflict.
But that
We
was
now have
10
a
months ago.
conflict. We now have a conflict because there is one person that is on both sides of this transaction.
He's not a paid
He is a paid
employee
assigner.
of the
Yes, he is.
HOA.
He's a paid assigner.
No, it's not.
He is not.
He is listed on the initial invoice as an assigner.
He is not. He's not. He's a volunteer.
He is
He's been a
listed as
volunteer
an,
for years.
he is listed on the invoice as an assigner. Dave, it's listed, you have it listed as an assigner.
Hey, that's an old letterhead. I have it assigned for over 3 years.
Okay, that's the letterhead I received with the first documentation, was it had you as an assigner.
I was in the past, but I am not. I haven't been for 3 years. Sid Albert's the assigner.
But it has you listed as an assigner, I think, for basketball, and this is the document that I initially received has assigning officer, softball and basketball, Dave Lamar.
Okay, did you hear what I said? I said that is an old letterhead that Sid used by mistake. I am not an assigner.
That helps. That helps.
Are the
understanding that
assigners
now.
paid, Mr. Lamar? Are the assigners paid?
The assigners are paid and the guy that writes the checks are paid. The other board members are not paid. We're just
But your
volunteer.
position is a volunteer, is that correct?
Yes, there's 4 positions that are volunteer. There are 2 paid positions. I am not one of them.
Okay,
And that's what I disclosed to the mayor 3 weeks ago at his request. I investigated it. I
John,
approved the pay request and said that Mr. Lamar is a volunteer, an unpaid
John, I
volunteer.
appreciate that, but I have documentation that shows him as an assigner. What you said conflicted with my head documentation. We now have a better explanation of that.
Then
Why
sign the
couldn't you
check.
ask
We
Mr.
now have
Lamar
a better
about
explanation of
that? Why couldn't you ask him about that 3 weeks ago? These people are waiting to get paid. That's not fair to these
He
families.
had the emails just like I did. He submitted a request with
Oh,
him as an
come
assigner
on.
on there. When I forwarded the email about him being compensated, there was no proof that he wasn't. This helps. This information helps here. I also noticed that the address has changed between the invoices. Which is the correct address at this point?
101 Sagamore Trace.
Okay, the most recent invoice has Devonshire.
Okay, that's the assigner. All we asked is that the checks are sent to one of the people on the board so it can get deposited. Since I was a secretary and do the paperwork and the minutes and the notes for the meetings, that we had a PO box formerly. We decided to close that PO box and use one of the board members' addresses so that we could get checks from Civitan and Girls Softball and so on, so they could be deposited in a timely fashion. That was the only reason for the address change.
I think we can get an updated address. This check is still planning to go to your house though. The check that is given to me it has your address on there.
Okay, that's fine. I'm the secretary and myself and the assigner and or the treasurer can deposit the checks.
Can you get me your conflict of interest form tomorrow? That evidently is on record.
I can sign the conflict of interest, but it's not listed on that volunteer board. I signed one of those back when I first started in December. Somebody gave me that conflict of interest form and I signed that form.
Okay, okay. Okay, I think we're probably good then. So I think we can move on.
Thank you.
I'd like to continue. I like to, my hands up.
Alderman Sprouse.
So we're not going to need to have a motion from the board to do something that's already processed according to accepted practice. I'm a little confused about why there's even any question why we're even having to discuss this at the board level, because pretty much everyone who's been part of this discussion, from the mayor, the city attorney, the parks director, our interim city administrator, all have offices at City Hall. And I would like to think that, I mean, aldermen are part-time officials. And when I have a question about something, I just go, and I don't even have an office in the building. I go and I sit down with Mr. Gilly and I sit down with Mr. Lamar. And it's really disappointing to me that this has to come to the board level. The other, especially since the same check was signed when Mr. Lamar was the interim parks director. And that would even be, if there was a conflict, it would seem to be an even more direct conflict. And I'm not saying there is one because he's a volunteer board member. If he was the parks director, because he's even closer to the process. But I will say one thing that really bothers me about this type of discussion that we're having is when it's sent to me that it's on Facebook that city employees' names are listed by the mayor and saying that there is questionable activity. That is wrong. It's wrong, because if you think someone's doing something improper, if you're paid full-time, have a full-time office, have a salary of $100,000 a year, walk across the lobby to the person and ask them a question. If you think an employee is doing something wrong, go to the department head. If you think finance is doing something wrong or finance needs to know about something, go to our finance director and ask that. The last thing any of us should do is to say that any of our city employees may have been engaged in questionable activities, smear their good name, and then cause us to have this level of discussion. It's irresponsible and it's unprofessional, and I hope it's something that we can avoid in every circumstance. Thank you.
Alderman Sprouse, thank you. The reason that this happened was because of something that came up in our audit in 2016. And I'll read you part of that now. During the audit, we were notified of 2 bank accounts that were under the direction of the Parks Department staff that were not recorded on the city's books for several years. These accounts were being managed by a combination of Parks Department employees and representatives of the Hendersonville Association. This was a finding after our audit in 2016. I wanted to be very careful, and the reason I did not have conversations was because I wanted information written down so I could forward that information on. Yes, it's very easy to walk into another office to have conversations. However, it's very important to have your documentation for when the auditors come back to us, wanting to make sure that we are not doing something incorrectly as was done in 2016, especially when they start talking about violations of state law and violations of city ordinance. I'm going to be extra careful. Alderman Bolt.
I still wanted to make a comment about the finance meeting. I mean, the finance report, that can, I guess we can, I don't even know what to say. I mean, I literally don't. What we've done for so long that is so normal and so obvious, all of a sudden is a problem and has to go to this level, and apparently was already discussed on social media.
Again, we have a city administrator on the board.
No. That's not what I
Multiple
said.
times on
What I
social
said
media.
was that it's been, at the end of the day, I hate to say it, but at the end of the day, the mayor should support the staff. And until the staff is proven to have done something wrong, I don't think that's something that should have gone to social media. I would expect that the mayor of the city would support staff at every turn until proven otherwise. That's why we have a mayor to some extent. So whenever we get done with this, I'll make the comment that I need to relative to the actual finance report. Thank you.
Alderman Bolt, we had staff that did something wrong in 2016. I was not willing to possibly violate state law and city ordinance. We had staff that did something wrong. I want to make sure we weren't doing anything else wrong.
Well,
So,
if
Alderman
that's
Edwards.
the case,
Okay.
I guess if that's the case, to Alderman Sprouse's point of view, all you had to do was walk across the hall, which I don't think you've been in Dave's office, but you might try walk in that office or walk into Parks Director or City Attorney, or this all could be discussed, done. You know, everybody's all on the same page with the exception of one. So it all could be solved in a heartbeat. So, I mean,
Again, documentation was very important.
Ridiculous stuff.
Again, documentation is going to be very important when we get audited. That's why I want to make sure that I have that. Alderman Edwards.
Okay. Okay, Attorney Bradley, I think some people are kind of confused as to your role as the city attorney. Let me ask you this. Has it always been your opinion that these checks or whatever can be written?
Yes, as a matter of fact, this is not even tax dollars. This is money that's collected from parents of children who participate in our parks program. There's an amount set aside to pay umpires and referees, and that's part of the fee that they pay. This is a pass-through. This is money that we collect from parents of children that play in the park to pay the umpires and referees. We've done this for many years, and I think that the process that we're using now is proper. And I think that it's been consistent with our audit findings for several years. And so, yes, I think it's proper.
Okay.
I would not have asked the mayor to sign the check if I didn't think it was proper, Mr. Edwards.
Okay, just so we're clear. So when the city attorney gives an opinion, a legal opinion, no one, including the mayor, would be liable legally for doing anything that's contrary to your opinion. Is that correct?
I would be the only one responsible. Yes, sir.
Right. So if
But
the
Russ,
mayor is sued or hang on, if the mayor is
Okay.
sued or something happens for violating any kind of state law, his sole defense is going to be that I relied on legal counsel. Is that right?
That would be a good defense. That would be appropriate.
Okay.
Russ, I did not get an opinion from John about the threshold for bidding. I never had that opinion. That was
Okay.
something that Alicia gave me. without
Okay,
asking.
but he's always had the legal given you the legal opinion that you can write these checks, right?
He gave me opinion that this invoice was okay. I did not ask him about the $10,000 threshold.
Okay.
That was something that.
Well,
brought up
for
herself.
future reference, all you have to do is rely on your city attorney's opinion. If he says that you can write a check, then a check can be written, and you have no personal liability. The city has no personal liability for this. Okay, and I would strongly suggest that you listen to the city attorney, take the city attorney's advice, or at least speak with them. I don't know if you have, and rely on his opinion. That's why we pay a city attorney, is to rely on the legal opinion and shift any kind of personal responsibility to the city attorney, and not go to MTAS. I mean, I don't know why we're going to MTAS and seeking another legal opinion when you have a competent city attorney that is sitting right here that you can pick up the phone or go talk to him and rely on his legal opinion. I just don't get it.
Russ, we have been misled by this city attorney recently when it came to funding.
Whoa,
When it
whoa,
came to funding, when it
whoa,
came
Mr.
to.
Mayor, you
I'm gonna
just
go
need
ahead and
to.
finish.
No, no, no.
When it came to funding our city administrator and doing it one way, MTAS let us know that we had done it incorrectly. So
And I showed you the state statute, Mr. Mayor, no.
I'm gonna go ahead.
I
I'm
showed
gonna go
the,
ahead. So it
I
was
showed the
important
board
to
the
me-
state statute that said I was correct.
I'm gonna go ahead. So it's important to me occasionally to get that second opinion. And to his credit,
Oh.
John backed up and we did it correctly with an ordinance. So this
That's
is
not
something
correct.
I thought that
That's
I should
not
check
correct,
in.
Mayor.
This is
You
something I
passed it by
felt like I
resolution.
should check in. And Alicia gave us some help there, and I think we can move forward.
Okay, well,
appreciate that.
regardless
It's
if
easy for
you
to say move forward.
Well, regardless if you like the city attorney or not, he's our city attorney and we have to rely on his opinion. Even if you don't agree with it, even if you want to go to MTAS, we have to rely on our city attorney's opinion. And I would like to defer to John Bradley if he wants to defend any accusations made against him. I've seen nothing that Mr. Bradley has done wrong in the past. And I would like to give this opportunity to Mr. Bradley to clear his name. if
I would
it is.
appreciate that, Mr. Edwards. Back in November, someone from MTAS gave the opinion that we could not transfer money by resolution to pay the city administrator on an interim basis. I found the state statute that said such a transfer could be made either by ordinance or resolution. And we did it. There was nothing wrong with what the board did. The MTAS attorney in that case, in my opinion, was incorrect. But that MTAS attorney does not represent the city of Hendersonville. I do. And I'm accountable for that. So I just wanted to straighten that out, that it wasn't that I misled the board about anything, because I didn't. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Alderman Edwards, anything else?
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm not an attorney, but I was really going to say what Alderman Edwards had just got done saying, that I think we have to rely on Mr. Bradley as our city attorney to get advice. You did not ask Mr. Bradley about this, obviously, on the front end. You went straight to MTAS, which is, I guess that's your prerogative, but I just don't feel that's necessarily the right way to do it. But what I am concerned about with is the umpires getting paid. If there's a disagreement between you, Mr. Bradley, MTAS, Mr. Lamar, that's fine. Check and get them paid, get that worked out later. I don't necessarily believe this money has to be bid anyway. It's pass-through money, comes from the parents. All we do is write a check to the association and they pay the umpires. So I may be wrong on that, but I don't believe I am. But it's not, I want to make it clear again, it's not tax dollars. It's parents' dollars that pay umpires to umpire kids' games, and they need to be paid ASAP. Thank you.
Alderman Brown, thank you. Alderman Cunningham.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, do you have a clear understanding of everything now to be able to sign those checks?
I think so. I do have an email into Alicia, and so she's probably going to get back to me tomorrow. She was out Friday and today. So without any other issues raised, I feel like we have a clear path under MTAS. Now that I understand the compensation and understand the correct invoices.
So when will you be signing those checks?
Plan to do it tomorrow.
Thank you.
Sure. Alderman Sprouse, General Committee.
Hold on. Remember, excuse me, Mayor, sorry.
Alderman Bolt, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Alderman Cunningham, I just want to let you know that I'd like to add an ordinance to the Finance Committee meeting that you have coming up. It's an ordinance. Shoot, I have it right here. I'm sorry. It is 2020-37 regarding paving of Hidden Point. And so I just want to make you aware of that. And if you'd add that to the agenda. Thank you.
Okay, and that's gone through Public Works now?
I think it's already been through there. I think I'm bringing it to Finance.
Okay, 2 weeks. 22nd. Thank you. Mayor, you're muted.
Chairman Cunningham, thank you. Chairman Cunningham, Chairman Sprouse, General Committee.
Thank you. General Committee met earlier this evening. We had a rather packed agenda. All the following items are going to be, or have been recommended to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen by unanimous vote of the General Committee. Ordinance 2020-33 having to change, dealing with compensation classification plan. Ordinance 2020-36 changes to Municipal Code Title 8, Chapter 2. Resolution 2020-50, resolution amending job classification list and pay tables again. Resolution 2020-52, a resolution amending resolution 2020-36 by extending the term of the city administrator. And I'll have some, that's going to be coming up later tonight, and I'll have some comments about that. Resolution 2020-53, an annexation following up some previous discussion action of this board on Durham Farms. Resolution 2020-54, expressing opposition and to request withdrawal from consideration Freehold's community proposed plan. It was what the speaker and citizens' comments spoke about a little earlier. And then resolution 2020-55, extending the urban growth boundary to include the proposed new Drakes Creek Boulevard. All of those were recommended unanimously by the committee. We did have one item on our agenda we discussed, Ordinance 2020-34, sponsored by the mayor, an ordinance to establish a term on the city attorney, and the committee took no action upon that. And with that, we adjourned. Thank you. I'm done.
You ready for me, Mayor?
Chairman Brown, Public Safety Committee.
Thank you. We called our meeting to order. We approved our minutes from August 11th, 2020. Then we discussed and voted on Resolution 2020-51, which is donating surplus Trek bikes to Sumner County Sheriff's Office. We voted on that unanimously. Then we discussed Ordinance 2020-32, amending and accepting and appropriating a State of Tennessee Department of Transportation Highway Safety Grant for $35,000 for the police department. It's 100% reimbursable grant for DUI, speed enforcement, and traffic safety. It's $35,000 we don't have to spend. That's good money. Hendersonville Fire Department Chief give us an update on the RFQ for Station 7. We have 20 folks that would like to do that work. So it'll be narrowed down here the next week or two. They'll be scored, and then final decisions will be made who that will be. We also had an ordinance 2020-35, an ordinance amending the Hendersonville Municipal Code Title IX, Chapter 1, which is peddlers and solicitations, moving our application fees from $75 to $100. The reason that was done, that is not making any money on anyone. That is actually being neutral across the board, because fees have been raised by the folks that do the background checks for us. So we're just stepping up and getting our money back, basically. One more thing I would like to add is that this Friday morning, the fire department will be having a memorial remembrance service at Memorial Park to remember those that lost their life in 9/11. It starts at 9 o'clock. It's a very solemn morning, but it's a good morning to be. If you don't have anything else to do, please be there at 9 o'clock in the morning. So, thank you.
Chairman Brown, thank you. Chairman Skidmore, Public Works Committee.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. Just a couple of items. We are scheduled to meet on the 22nd. That's a couple weeks. We'll be going over the stormwater drainage. That will be coming before the whole board, believe it or not. And I know a lot of people will be happy over that issue to get that out of the way. I know we will in Public Works. We've got that. And then we have a few more items that we're going to be discussing with regards to supplemental paving that will be coming back before the board. And we did that. And so, but those are two major items that we deal in Public Works. But other than that, we have no report until the 22nd. And I thank you.
Chairman Skidmore, thank you. Chairman Campbell, Capital Projects.
No report, Chairman. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Alderman Woodcock, are you with us?
I am. Sorry for being late. Thank you.
You're fine. Go ahead. Planning Commission.
Thank you. We met last Tuesday. We approved the following final plats: Falcon Ridge Phase 1, Villages of Stony Brook, Section 1, Phase 5B. We approved the PDP for the Festival Center off of Rockland Road, Camel Express. Mimi's and Indian Lake is being replaced with Chase Bank. We approved that site plan. And we also approved the preliminary plat for 234 Stadium Drive. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Woodcock. Dave Lamar, City Administrator report.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few brief things to wrap up here. We are meeting with HR and Kay about her job description as her retirement gets closer at the end of December. The job description hadn't been looked at in several years, and we're trying to formulate that so we can get an idea of what we need to do. Putting together a back to work directive for this COVID. It seems to be the curve flattening out a little bit in Sumner County, and a lot of workers have come back to work, and we're working on getting most of the people back probably starting next week. IT is still doing a really good job with all these meetings. The fire department, public works, I appreciate Marshall and the fire department and planning, getting together and codes and everybody about the RFQ for the fire hall. We have 20 packets that have gone out, been received, turned back in to them, and we're going to evaluate those. So that's a good thing. With a lot of people interested in looking at the fire hall 7. Kay booked the room, and Mary Beth's meeting with League of Women Voters for their October 12th. Let me shut my phone off here. October 12th League of Women Voters Forum. They're working on that. Talked to the gentleman today, and Mary, I think he talked to you, Andy Gilly, and the police department about the Veterans Parade coming up in November the 8th. That's all set to go. Codes and the fire department and myself and John Bradley met today on an issue with a local business that we are trying to help. Sometimes they don't want to help themselves, but we are trying to assist them in staying open and following the codes by the book. So that's all I'll say on that. Congratulations to Shelley. She's been promoted to assistant HR director. She's well-deserved, good employee. Get that, Shelley. Steve already mentioned the 9/11 Friday morning at 9 o'clock. Hendersonville Fire Department, Scotty, you guys did a great job with assistance for PD, Chief Miller, and the police department Sunday on that drowning incident. People don't know how good we have it here in Hendersonville with the staff we have, and you guys did an outstanding job taking care of that really, really delicate and tragic situation. I appreciate you guys going above and beyond. I did talk to a neighbor that lives next door to where the girl drowned, and talked with him this morning, and he said you guys were nothing but professional, and that Hendersonville ought to be proud of their public safety people in the job they did. He watched the whole thing, actually from the girl falling into the water and actually drowning to the recovery, and he said that it was a fantastic job. And he's moved here just a year or so ago from out of state, and he said, I'm glad I moved to a community like Hendersonville. So with that being said, we are meeting with MTAS and Gary Jekyll on the move on what we're going to do with the city administrator, since Ms. Davis declined the position. We're going to back up and punt, so to speak, and I'll give a report next meeting on what our options are at this point in time. So I don't know if anybody has any questions, Mayor. I'll entertain any questions.
Alderman Bolt.
Just one comment, and that probably should go to Alderman Skidmore, but the paving for Hidden Point should be added to the Public Works agenda for their next meeting. But Dave, thanks for letting me jump in there.
No problem. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thanks, Dave. Next, we have ordinances that we grouped. This is A, B, C, D, and F as a group. This is first reading of ordinance 2020-27, an ordinance accepting and appropriating a donation in the amount of $400 from Morris Orthodontics. It's first reading of ordinance 2020-28, an ordinance and amending budget ordinance 2020-20 by accepting and appropriating sponsorship funds. It's also first reading of ordinance 2020-29, an ordinance to authorize amendment to budget ordinance 2020-20 and appropriating funds from the general fund reserve account. It's also first reading of ordinance 2020-30, an ordinance to authorize amendment to budget ordinance 2020-20 and appropriating performance bond funds from the general fund reserve account. And it's also resolution 2020-48, a resolution to declare equipment owned by the city to be surplus property and directing disposal of the same. I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
We have a motion from Alderman Waters.
Second.
And a second from Alderman Strauss. Again, it's all 5 of those that we're voting on together. We can discuss those if anybody wishes. I don't see any virtual hands or real hands. All those in favor of approving first reading of ordinance 2020-27, first reading of ordinance 2020-28, first reading of ordinance 2020-29, first reading of ordinance 2020-30, and resolution 2020-48. Please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, please say no when Kay calls your name.
Bolt,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Campbell,
Aye.
Cunningham,
Aye.
Edwards,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Petrelli. Aye. Robertson,
Aye.
Skidmore,
Aye.
Sprouse,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Woodcock,
Aye.
Clary.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Those pass unanimously. Thank you, Kay. Next, we have first reading of ordinance 2020-31. This is an ordinance to authorize amendment to budget ordinance 2020-20 to appropriate monies into a new account for transportation-related improvements on Drakes Creek Road. Alderman Skidmore.
So move.
I have a
Second.
motion and
Second.
a second from Alderman Edwards. Who was second?
Robertson.
Alderman Robertson. Thank you. I see no hands, either virtual or otherwise. All those in favor of first reading of ordinance 2020-31, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, please say no when Kay calls your name.
Woodcock,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Sprouse,
Aye.
Skidmore,
Aye.
Robertson,
Aye.
Petrelli. Aye. Hayes,
Aye.
Edwards,
Aye.
Cunningham,
Aye.
Campbell,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Bolt,
Aye.
Clary.
No, I'm sorry, aye.
That's unanimous.
Passes unanimously. Next, we have resolution 2020-52. This is resolution amending resolution 2020-36 by extending the term of the interim city administrator. Alderman Brown.
So move.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second from Alderman Brown and Alderman Campbell. Alderman Sprouse, go ahead.
Thank you.
Campbell second.
Just wanted to say that this is not long-term. This is not a permanent solution. I know that there's been some questions coming out the last couple of days and people advocating for and against this, but this is basically just to stay the course, what we have right now on a temporary basis through the end of the year. And I think that that's reasonable. What I would like to say though, and I've discussed this with staff, is I think that we should, my intention is that we take no further step towards a permanent city administrator until after the election. I know that I'm only one voice in that, but my intention is if I'm asked as a member, as the chairman of the general committee, to have a special called meeting, I would decline on the issue. I feel like we just need to stay the course, let staff know what's going on, and really depoliticize the discussion. Thank you.
Alderman Sprouse, thank you. Alderman Robertson.
Thank you, Chairman Sprouse. I agree with that sentiment. I think that there's a lot of discussion going on the CA, and I think that staying the course is the proper course until after the election, and then whomever is elected as mayor and the new board will be able to put their stamp of approval on whatever process is decided moving forward. So I support staying the course. So thank you.
Alderman Robertson, thank you. All those in favor of resolution 2020-52, a resolution amending 2020-36, amending the term of the interim city administrator, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, please say no when Kay calls your name.
Bolt,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Campbell,
Aye.
Cunningham,
Aye.
Edwards,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Petrelli. Aye. Robertson,
Aye.
Skidmore,
No.
Sprouse,
Aye.
Waters,
No.
Woodcock,
No.
Clary.
No.
That's 9 ayes, 4 nays.
That passes by a majority vote. Now we have confirmation of Marshall Boyd as Public Works Director.
So moved.
Second,
I don't know who made the motion.
Robertson.
Alderman Robertson made the motion. Alderman Waters seconded it.
Amen.
All those in favor of appointing Marshall Boyd as our Public Works Director, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, please say no when Kay calls your name.
Woodcock,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Sprouse,
Aye.
Skidmore,
Definitely aye.
Robertson,
Yes.
Petrelli,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Edwards,
Aye.
Cunningham,
Aye.
Campbell,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Bolt,
Aye.
Clary.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Passed unanimously. Thank you, Kay.
Mr. Boyd.
Marshall.
Congratulations,
Congratulations.
Love you,
Marshall.
Marshall.
Congratulations, Marshall.
Good job. Keep up the good
Love your
work.
hair, Marshall.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Marshall
Alderman
and Robert have great hair.
Strauss and Alderman Strauss makes her motion. Alderman Waters is our second. All those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, please say no when Kay calls your name.
Bolt,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Campbell,
Guess what?
Aye.
Cunningham,
Hold on.
Aye.
Edwards,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Petrelli,
Aye.
Robertson,
Aye.
Skidmore,
Aye.
Sprouse,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Woodcock,
Aye.
Clary.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
It passed unanimously. Thank you all. Have a good night. Tina, thank you for your help.
Thank you, Mayor.
We're adjourned.
Good hair.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Great job, Tina.
Thanks, Tina.
I have the easiest job here, you guys.